Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel and welcome to the Art Shed. So if you've been following my vlogs recently, you'll know that I've been having a few teething problems in the Art Shed. One with my tables being very wobbly, and every time I try and record anything the camera shakes and all that kind of stuff, and it's very off-putting and unnerving and makes people feel sick. So hopefully I've got that solved now. The other issue that I had was with the lighting, and I think I may have got that solved as well now. So today is going to be the first art project from the Art Shed, and I'm going to be doing one of my circle journal art journal pages based on a song lyric or a poem. This one's going to be a song lyric, and because it's all about moving into new houses, it's going to be a house based art journal page. So let me turn over to my overhead camera, which is just here to my right. Show you where it's set up, just here. And then we'll get started on putting an art journal page together. So this is my circle art journal. It's 8 inches by 8 inches, if you were wondering, if you've not seen it before. And this is the one that I created so that I could create art journal pages that were based on songs, song lyrics, or poems or poetry. This is one of the 8-inch circle journals that I sell on my website. I also do a 6-inch version if you're interested. So there are medite covers with 2 book rings that you get, 1.5 inch book rings that you also get in the kit. So that was, if you're new to these, this one was for February, because we started doing these in February, and this was the one that I did in March. So this is going to be April's page. So I'll just take that out of the journal so we can work on that in isolation out of the journal. So we're not going to get pages splashed or broken or dirty or whatever. There we go. And that's just fallen through now. Right. I'll tell you what, let me just put it over there and I'll put it back together again later. Rather than wasting time. Okay, so that's the page that we're going to be working on, and what I've done is I've printed off some pages from one of my digi-downloads, which is on the website, which is the Whimsy Houses digi-download. So this is 8 sheets of whimsical houses and collage elements. So there's trees and clouds and all sorts of stuff, and I've just printed off 2 sheets from that set. So I'm going to use this little tree here today, but I also want to use this little house here. So before I do anything else, I'm going to go away and I'm going to cut these out. Now then, saying that, if I can remember what I did with my scissors, because obviously moving into a new house, everything's been packed away, but I did make sure that I put a mini craft kit to one side, or an art kit, so that I knew where everything was, or I had at least something to play with as and when necessary. So like I said, I'm going to go away and cut these items out, these little collage items, and then once I've got these cut out, we'll talk about my inspiration and why I chose the song that I've chosen to represent in this art journal page today. So I will see you in a little while. Okay, so I've cut some of my little whimsical houses out. I didn't bother cutting all the way around the little grass things over there because I don't really think it really needed it. But there's just a couple. Now I don't want another tree. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut one out of one of these pages here from my recent Masterboard paper pad. So this is from the Masterboard Mixed Media Art Papers. The only reason it's got a cross there is because I know that's my copy and not to be sold on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just flip that over. And I think I'm going to create a little bit of a pom-pommy kind of tree shape here. Just randomly cutting out a nice kind of like little tree shape. Like so. And we can have that as maybe another little tree in the background. So what I'll do is I'll just cut maybe a little tree trunk. And maybe just split that a little bit. Keep getting it caught on my fingers, never mind. So as I was saying earlier, one of the things that you have to get used to when you're moving into a new craft space is the way that the lighting works. It's how sound carries. You know, and because I'm in the shed, as it were, which is halfway down the garden, I've got to contend with the sound of pigeons landing on the roof, with dogs barking, and with obviously family members who are in the garden talking rather loud. So those are the sort of things that you've got to kind of contend with when you move into a new space. There we go. I think I'm kind of liking that. And I can always put a few little punched flowers around the bottom here in a little while. So we need to do something in the background. So what I'm going to do, I think, is I'm going to do a kind of colour wash, maybe with paint, maybe with ink. Let me have a little think about that and I'll come right back. Okay, so what I thought I'd do is I would rake out some of my Neo colours, which are the water-soluble kind of wax crayons. So we'll put, let me just get a rubber pencil actually. And I'm just going to put a kind of mark. So what I want to do is create like a half circle that goes round there. Following that kind of curvature of the page. Like so. That's going to be our grounding, and then we can make some colours up here. So let's just grab some blues and we can mix these on the page. I'm not putting any gesso or anything like that on these because we're going to kind of turn these into wishy-washy kind of watercolory colours. And I'm going to just add in some different tones of blue. And maybe a little bit of that turquoisey down there. Don't use these Neo colours in half as much as I should do. And then down here at the bottom, I've got two different coloured greens. I've got emerald green and yellow green. So we'll do that again, just randomly around the page. And if you really wanted to, you could introduce some yellows down here if you wanted. Now you can activate those with a brush or with a baby wipe or anything like that. I've just got a little bit of water that I'm going to put on my worktop here on this mat, and I'm just going to grab this brush. I'm hoping this brush is clean, haha, he says, and then we can just activate those colours, and with any luck they'll start blending and melding together. So that you don't get an even kind of distribution of colour. You want it different, you want it kind of mottled and with variations, because nothing's a flat colour, is it? Nothing's ever a flat colour. So if you wanted to come back in again and add a little bit more colour, just grab some more water. and just reintroduce it. So we've done that. So now we'll flip that over and then we'll do the blue. And I don't mind if there's a little bit of green in with that blue. So we'll start off down here at the bottom. And I'm working kind of across the page in lines so that it gives you that kind of idea of variations in the sky. Bit more water there. Go off the page a little bit. Just like that. Hey, like it. Right, what we need to do is get that dried off now. And I have to remember what I did with my heat gun. So we'll have a bit of a tidy up, a bit of a dry off, and then I'll be right back. All right, so I've now got some glue. Background is all dried, so we can now start sticking down some of our items. So let's just grab those little side houses to start off with. We said we'd put them up there. Now I've got to be mindful of where the holes are for the journal. So we'll do those first. I'm not going around the edges with distress crayon or anything like that today. I'm just going to leave it kind of like raw collage, if you like. All right, so let's stick that up there, obviously following the line of the page, as in the curvature. The glue I'm using, if you haven't seen me use this before, is the Tombow Aqua Mono, and the only reason I've got some washi tape around there is just to let me know which bottle I've started, because I've got a few bottles of this, but you never know which one you've actually opened up, which one you've started. So let's put that just there like that, like it. And then we're going to have this one in the middle. So the song that I've chosen, typical, is to do with houses. And let's just, I'm not going to stick that down just yet. It's a song from, I think, the 80s, might even be early 90s, I don't know, I can't remember. I'm not very good when it comes to titles, and well, not titles, but dates of songs and stuff. But maybe I should have done a little bit of research first as to when it was. That would have helped, wouldn't it? There we go, just in there like that. And then, in fact, I will, when this is dry, and just nip off before we get to doing the quote, the song quote, before we add that on. I'll get the proper details of what year the song was released, because that would help it a little bit, wouldn't it? Duh, of course. Now then, what I could do is I could just slide that underneath, couldn't I? Or just go over the top. Let's just go over the top. I'm being a bit clumsy today. There we go. That's better. All right. I think that's everything stuck down. Now what I've got some, I've had this old Stampin' Up punch. It's a little flower punch. I've had this in my stash for absolutely years and years and years. And it comes in useful when you want to add little bits of detail, little bits of flowers here and there. So that's what we're going to do today. Just add a few of these kind of little flowers in a bunch. Well, maybe a group of 3. There we go. And I've just picked papers from the masterboards. As you can see, I've got little punch holes just going around the outside, just where I've punched them out of any of the excess paper. And I think what we'll do is maybe just stick 1 or 2 up here in this tree as well, because we've got a flower in this one. Let's just add a couple of flowers in that tree up there, just for a bit of contrast. There we go. Just like that. And then we've got those kind of little mushroomy house flowers down here. So let's stick those down there like that. And then what we can do is we can come back in with a pen. And I'll just use a bit of scrap just to make sure the pen's working, which it is. And we can put maybe some little stameny kind of things, little centres to those flowers. Like so. And then for this, we can do some kind of like whimsical little stems. Like so. And then we do the same thing kind of for this. These little flowers over here. And then we can add a little bit of detail on the bottom. Bit of whimsy. Never hurt anyone. Never hurt anyone at all. And just kind of help just to balance the page, I think. So what we need to do now is have a look at the quote. So I'll be right back. Oh, just pull my chair in a bit. Right, okay, so I've got my quote already cut out, printed and cut out. So the song was from a 1982 hit by a British group called Madness. They had quite a few hits in the 80s, but this one was just plain and simple. And I'm going to put the lyrics going around the outside of the page. So what I will do, if you've never heard of the band, not familiar with the song, then in the doobly-doo below the video, I will put a link to another YouTube video of the band singing the song, because obviously I think every song that's ever been made or recorded or with any kind of video or film to it, there's a copy of it somewhere on YouTube. It's just the way it is. So you can always refer back or listen to any kind of song almost by any artist. There we go. But I just thought it was a little bit appropriate for us at this time, having just moved into a new house, just moved mum and dad in. The sun's shining today while I'm sat here in the art shed, and Ian and Dad are busy weeding and tidying up the garden, which is lovely, and they're having a fabulous time. Okay, so at some point I'll need to add just who wrote it. So I'll just add and the date of 1982 when it was released. I did say it was in the 80s, didn't I? So there we go. So then I'll flip that over and then I can write on the back April. What date is it today? It's the 19th today, April 19th, 2025. There we go, because I've written the date on the back of all of them so far. February, there you go. And then March, I wrote the date there, so I wrote that. And then I can flip that over now and add that as page number 3. I think perhaps I should do these one book ring at a time because it makes it easier, it doesn't fall to pieces then. There we go, so that's my art journal page for March's song lyric, song or poem in my circle journal. So I hope you've enjoyed watching me create this little mini collage today. If you have, please remember to give the video a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel already, you can do so by clicking the button at the end of the video. And if you have any issue with or noticed anything with the sound or with the lighting, please do let me know in the comments below, because like I said, I don't know whether or not this is going to look any good until I get to the editing stage, but it's always nice to get some feedback from you guys as to whether the sound level's okay, the lighting level's okay. But I know there's only maybe just a tiny little bit of wobble, but I can live with that. So that's all from me for now. I'll see you all again very, very soon. Bye for now. I'd like to say a huge thank you to all of my angels, because without you, these videos would not be possible. And don't forget, you can access your exclusive angel-only content over on my website. There's a link in the description area below. Thank you.